Congratulations. You're welcome. Jefferson County Code Law number 2 is back in session. The code is in session. And cause number 23 CCCR 2414 case is style. And cause number 23 CCCR 1938. Both cases. Well, let me back up. Slow this down. Okay, the court is in session and cause number 23 CCCR 2414 and cause number 23 CCCR 2416. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Herbert Joseph James. Mr. James, is that your full name?
It's the third at the end of it.
You Herbert Joseph James III? Okay, Mr. James, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. James, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. James, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. James? That's good. Mr. James, you are represented in your case by your attorney Langston Adams. Attorney Adams is appearing via Zoom. And I have before me a document that is titled Joint Request for Plea and or Sentencing by Video Conference under Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 27.18. Mr. James, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir. It's one.
Yes, Mr. James, is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
Mr. James, before you signed this document, did your attorney, Mr. Adams, go over this document with you? And did you understand everything that he went over? And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Adams, do you waive a record in Mr. James' cases?
Yes.
Mr. James, I have before me in cause number 23 CCCR 2414, a document that is titled information sheet. In this information sheet, it alleges that you, Herbert Joseph James, on or about October 18 of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault, family violence. Mr. James, do you understand what you've been charged with? And to discharge Mr. James, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest charges?
Yes.
And Mr. James, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on the line next to the box that's check no contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Sir.
And on the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there's one box that's checked. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Mr. James, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. James, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me, I got that one. I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's 1? Mr. Adams, State's is offering State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence. Mr. Adams, do you have any? No
No.
objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Adams, you've advised in counsel, Mr. James, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Mr. Adams, you advised in counsel, Mr. James, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None.
Okay, Mr. James, your attorney, Mr. Adams, has advised in counsel to you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. James, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in Mr. James' case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
For pleading guilty or no contest, the state has offered 45 days jail with credit for 15 days. This offer would run concurrent with the other case.
What's the court cost in Mr. James' case? Mr. James, the state is offering that you serve 45, is that 45? Yeah, 45 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for 15 days that you have already served. The court cost in this case, yes, is $277. Mr. James, would you be able to pay the $277 court cost?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. James, I have before me a document that is titled Affidavit of Indigence. And the bailiff is handing you a document that's titled Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant at the top left-hand corner. Is that your signature? Okay, Mr. James, is everything in that document still true and correct today? Okay, Mr. James, the court is going to find that you're indigent. Based on the finding of indigency, the court cost in this case, will be waived. That means that you will not have to pay it pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. Mr. James, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Mr. James, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now we'll move to your next case. Your next case is cause number 23CCC-ARA 2416. And Mr. James, in this case, I have before me a document that is titled Information Sheet. This information sheet was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information sheet, it alleges that you, Herbert Joseph James, on or about October 18th of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offensive assault, family violence. Mr. James, do you understand what you have been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. James, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir. I
Okay, now, Mr. James, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2, I'm gonna need his discovery certificate. On page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
At the top of this document, there's one box that's checked. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? You had that discovery certification?
I put it back. I said, which one are you talking
His discovery cert on paper. On his case.
about?
Yeah, I think he might have, he has 2 numbers.
Oh, yes, two.
And Mr. James, do you recognize this document? Discovery certification, and is this your signature on the line that is titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. James, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Adams, do you have any objections to State's Exhibit number 1 being offered into evidence?
No.
Okay. Mr. Adams, you advised and counsel Mr. James in this case as well. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
Okay, Mr. James, I will accept your plea of no. Oh, well, and Mr. James, you've been advised and counsel by Mr. Adams in this case as well. Are you satisfied with the services in this case? Mr. James, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you're mentally incompetent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for a plea of guilty or no contest. The state is offered 45 days jail with credit for 15 days, running concurrent with the previous case.
Mr. James, the state is offering that you serve 45 days in Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for the 15 days that you've already served in jail. The court costs in this case will be waived pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, because the court has previously found you indigent in the companion case. And this case will also run concurrent with cause number 23 CCCR 2414. Mr. James, do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. James, I'll follow. The people are in agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. James, this will conclude your case. Now, before you step over in front of the bailiff to follow her directions, I need to give you, the bailiff had handed you a document that is titled Model Written Ammunition on Ineligibility to Possess a Firearm Ammunition. I'm going to go over this document with you. And this document reads as follows. In accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you of the following. Number one, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013A, firearms mean any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, Unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, Unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, Violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence. Child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective order. Now, Mr. James, the written admonition that has been given to you is for your records. This will conclude your case. Please stand in front of next to the bailiff. Follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you can follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day. You're welcome. The Carlos Frank. Frank is next.
Frank.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, now we're in Frank.
He has one.
no, still got one for, Utah.
And Ms. Delage?
The lodge, we hadn't heard from her.
I don't know what's going on with her. She came in yesterday.
I
I
know.
wonder if Trina would go.
And.
Is that door open? The
No,
front
she
door?
would've came around. No, it's not open.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Just, thanks. Now, Mr. Frank, in your case, are you entering a plea of guilty or no contest? No contest? Okay, hold on a minute. Let me do this. I'm gonna have. Hold on, let me do this. Hold me before you do that. I need to get off of YouTube. Give me an opportunity.